Brahmanda Purana, Part 4, Lalita Mahatmya, Chapter 7. The scenes of theft and drinking. There is a footnote that says it continue the second chapter. Hence, the first verse here is 2.70. Our text seems to have deleted number 2.77 and 79. Anyway, Indra said, O Holy Lord, the characteristic of violence has been entirely recounted. What is the characteristic feature of stealth? Tell me in detail. Brihaspati said, killing of animal kind is a greater sin than ordinary sins. A sin still greater than this is the murder of one who has sought shelter and has trusted you. Even if one kills a member of the lowest and the last of all castes, although he may be a great sinner but has trusted himself to you, one then incurs a sin greater than Brahmana slaughter. One has no means of atonement for the same sin. There is no expiation at all for the sin of stealing wealth and property of a poor man, of a person who has earned it with very great hardship, of a man who has realized Brahman, and of a person who has a large family consisting of his wife and children and who wishes to sustain himself with it. The theft of the property of a person who has trusted you is a greater sin. One should never steal the wealth of a poor man, whether he has trusted you or not. Therefore, one who unhesitatingly kills the thief of gold, gems, and jewels of twice born ones and deities in temples acquires the fruit of a horse sacrifice. On account of theft in regard to the property of the preceptor, deity, Brahmana, one's own friend, son, and others, the sin occurring in this order in 10 times the preceding one. The person who steals wealth from Chandala, a Shudra, a Vaishya, a Kshatriya, and a Brahmana is defiled by sins 10 times more dreadful in each case than the previous one. The story of Kirata Dvijavarman. There's a footnote that says the story illustrates how the fruit, that is, merit of good actions from theft of property, is distributed among the parties concerned. In this context, they cite the following traditional legend. It is a greater secret than all other secrets. It is destructive of all sins. Formerly, there was born in the city of Kanchi a thief named Vajra. All the people in the beautiful, excellent city were endowed with riches. All of them were happy persons devoid of illness. They had perfect control over their sense organs. They were endowed with gracious sympathy for others. In this city, flourishing exceedingly with all sorts of riches, that thief starting with a small amount and proceeding ahead little by little amassed a great deal of money. He dug a pit in the jungle and greedily deposited wealth therein. A certain Kirata or forester saw him hiding it. In the middle of night, when he or Vajra had gone far away, the Kirata came there and removed 1/10 of the stolen wealth without being noticed by Vajra. He went along his way bearing the burden of firewood. Vajra, who was covetous of wealth, covered the pit with a rock and filled it with mud and sand with great labor. Thereafter he went back to the city. Getting more and more wealth, he thus deposited it under the ground. After reaching home, the delighted Kirata said to his wife, "As I was going about gathering firewood, O timorous woman, this wealth was acquired by me at a lonely place on the way. O lady seeking wealth, keep this safe." On hearing it, she took wealth and placed it within. Thinking about various things, she spoke thus to her husband: "The Brahmana who passes by my house every day saw me and said, 'Ere long you will be very fortunate. If one or you were amidst the women of the first four castes, one would rather be a king's beloved. But Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, does not stay for a long time amongst Bhillas, Kiratas, and Chandalas, as well as in the family of a Shailusha, musician, actor, dancer. This is due to the curse of sage Valmiki. Still, in the case of one blessed by merits, the cause of great fortune, his statement can never be in vain, as seen before, or only that wealth which is acquired with very great difficulty by means of one's own efforts stays with one for a long time. All else goes away in course of time. One should utilize for sacred activities that wealth which comes to him by chance. Hence, build and dig splendid tanks, wells, etc. with this amount. On hearing these words of hers, urged by his own future fortune, he looked for a level ground with plenty of water in different localities. Afterwards, he built a tank with perennial supply of water in the western region. The water was free from impurities, and the tank was one that could be completed only by spending a big amount of wealth. When the entire wealth was spent on workmen and artisans, and he still saw the work incomplete, he became worried and anxious. He thought thus: "Unknown to him, I shall follow that thief named Vajra. Indeed, much wealth has been kept under the ground by him. Little by little, I shall ultimately remove much wealth." After mentally deciding thus, he followed him without being observed by him. Fetching wealth in that manner, he completed the bund with that money. In the middle of the tank there was the palatial temple of Lord Sarangin or Vishnu, surrounded by water, constructed by him. That tank became a very splendid and huge reservoir of water that never dried up. In the middle of the Bund, he built a big shrine of Shankara. The forest that had been infested with many wild beasts was denuded. Thereby he prepared many excellent fields of very great value. The fields were divided, some were dedicated to the deities and others were donated to Brahmanas. He invited many Brahmanas, of whom the leader was Devabrata. He made them pleased by means of gold and clothes and spoke these words. Where, that is what a lot of difference there is. Am, am I a Kirata named Veeradatta selling firewood? Where is the construction of the great Bund? Where is the building up of a great shrine? Where is the allotment of fields and abodes of Brahmanas? It was only due to your kindness, O excellent Brahmanas, that everything has been achieved. Accepting that offer, the Brahmanas, the leader of whom was Devabrata, who became contented, named that Kirata as Dvijavarma. Those noble souled Brahmanas of great prowess named his wife Shilavati. For the sake of protecting them, the Kirata of great self control took up his residence there itself along with his wife and kinsmen. Delighting all Brahmanas, he named the city Devaratapura, Devaratapura, after the name of the priest. Thereafter, thereafter falling within the power of the passage of time, Dijavarma died, and the messengers of Yama, Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra assembled there. A war broke out amid them, and it could be compared only to the war between Devas and Asuras. In the meantime, sage Narada came there and said, "Do not fight among yourselves. Listen to my words. It was by means of theft that this Kirata constructed the bond sometimes back. He shall be transformed to a gaseous state and about move about alone till the death of the owner of wealth, that is Vajra. As for him, that is Vajra, since he has taken away wealth from many, he too shall move about in a gaseous state until all of them die." On hearing the words of Narada, all the messengers went back. Dvijavarma assumed a gaseous state and moved about in space for a period of 12 years. The sage said to his wife, "You have not committed any defect or sin. With the meritorious acts committed by you, go to the region of Brahma from this world." On seeing her husband transformed to a gaseous state, she did not relish the idea of going to the abode of Brahma. Attaining the state of complete indifference to worldly affairs, she spoke thus to the sage: I shall never go to the abode of Brahma without my husband. I shall stay here itself till my husband regains his body. Thereafter I shall pursue the same goal as my husband. Or is there any act of atonement and expiation to be performed by me or by him? On hearing her words, thus the ascetic was pleased, and he said, your body that is capable of experiencing joy and sorrow can perform rites too. An atonement can be had through my influence. I shall mention it to you. Before taking any food, one must have his holy dip in the great Tirtha every day. After devotedly worshipping Shiva along with Ambika, he must meditate on Maheshana, God Shiva, in his heart and then repeat the mantra called Satarudra Manu. There is a footnote that says name of a celebrated hymn in uh, Vaj Samhita. But how was the Kirata lady regarded eligible for repeating Vedic mantras? In the course of this period, he shall have only roots, fruits, and bulbous roots for food. By repeating this mantra 1008 times, even the slayer of Brahmana becomes liberated. Um, by repeating this mantra 1008 times, even the slayer of a Brahmana becomes liberated from sins. There is no doubt at all that he will be liberated from all other sins as well. After commanding her, thus the ascetic imparted Rudradhyaya to her. After blessing that woman, thus he vanished there itself. For the sake of doing something pleasing to her husband, she performed rites of meditation and the repetition of the great mantras. Liberated from the sins of theft, he regained his physical body. Thereafter, the thief named Vajra met with his death. Others too, to whom the wealth stolen by him belonged, passed away. Yama called them together and said thus: sin has been committed by you. Luckily, some meritorious deeds also have been performed. What is the fruit that you wish to experience first of the auspicious activities? On hearing his words, thus Vajra and others said, at the outset, the fruits of meritorious deeds shall be enjoyed. Afterwards, that of the sins shall be experienced. Yama said once again, all of you go to heaven immediately on the strength of this meritorious deed of Dvijavarma, along with your wife, sons, and friends. They got into an excellent aerial chariot with Dvijavarma as their leader and guide. Endowed with the relevant benefits, they went speedily. They were speedily to heaven. Accompanied by his wife, Dvijavarma passed beyond all worlds and attained Ganapatya, the state of being the commander of the Ganas, attendants of Shiva. Even today he rejoices in Kailasa. Indra said, O highly intelligent one, mention the divisions and the comparative merits of construction of bonds and other meritorious deeds. It is conducive to the increase of merit. Brihaspati said, Dvijavarma of great reputation attained everything after acquiring half of the meritorious deeds. Vajra acquired a half of the remainder, others were endowed with a further moiety of what still remained. Action is committed by one in four ways: by the mind, by the speech, by the casual movement of the body, and by the willful activity of the body. These perish due to the expiatory rites performed by the very same parts of the body. Indra said, What is the nature of asava, liquor? What is its defect? What is its merit? What type of cooked food is defective? Mention this in detail to me. There is a footnote that says liquor drinking is a great sin, Mahapapa. The remaining chapter deals incidentally with different types of wines in ancient India. The permission to non-Brahmin men and women to drink and strict prohibition for Brahmanas even while worshipping mothers, Matri goddesses. Brihaspati said the different types of intoxicating beverages are as follows: Poishtika, made from flour or rice; Talaja, from the date palm; Kaira, coconut palm juice; Madhuka, made from honey or Madhuka flowers; Guda Sambhava, prepared from molasses. In regard to sinful nature, the later ones mentioned above are half as dreadful as the earlier ones. Asava can be used as a beverage by the three castes, beginning with the Kshatriyas. Excepting a Brahmana lady, all women can drink liquors beginning with the third one, that is Kaida, coconut palm juice, and prepared from honey and molasses. A widow, a virgin, and a woman in her monthly period shall avoid drinking liquor. If a woman drinks liquor out of covetousness and not in the company of her husband, she is called Unmadini, a mad woman. One should avoid her like a Chandala woman. The ratio of drinking liquors in the case of four castes, beginning with the Brahmanas, shall be 10 to 8 or 6 to 4. In the case of women, it shall be half of the above. If they drink in the company of their husbands, it shall be one fourth of the above. After drinking liquor out of delusion, a Brahmana should perform Krachra Chandrayana expiation on or he shall repeat Gayatri mantra or Jatavedasa mantra 10,000 times. If a man repeats Ambika Hridaya mantra, he shall become pure. A Kshatriya among the third caste A Kshatriya among the three castes shall be purified by repeating those mantras half the number of times. Okay. If a man repeats Ambika Hridaya mantra, he shall become pure. A Kshatriya among the three castes shall be purified by repeating those mantras half the number of times. In the case of women, the number of repetitions shall be one fourth, or they can get the same done through Brahmanas. One should repeat the mantras 1,000 times under water and become purified thereby. Lakshmi, Saraswati, Gauri, Chandika, Tripura, Ambika, Vaishnavi, Bhairavi, Kali, and Mahindri are the mothers. There are other Shakti goddesses. In worshipping them, the liquor prepared from honey is approved of. A Brahmana who has mastered the Vedangas shall perform worship without wine. Those who are unattached to worldly objects attain the greatest goal through their power, that is, the power of mothers. They shall eat only what is dedicated and offered to them first. Without thinking about other deities, they must be meditated upon. They must identify themselves with mothers. This remembrance of the fact of the supreme power, Parashakti, is prescribed as the expiation for all sins committed either knowingly or unknowingly. The base fellow who drinks liquor without worshipping Parashakti shall stay in hell called Raurava for a period calculated at the rate of a year for every drop so consumed. He who drinks liquor with a desire for enjoying pleasure is the vilest of men. Accepting a fall from precipitous rock or immolation into the fire, there is no other means of atonement for him. A Brahmana should not drink liquor out of delusion or for the sake of friendship or because of passionate addiction. A Brahmana shall be purified of sinful defects due to the blessings of great men by repentance of one's own action, by worshipping Parashakti, by the observance of yamas and niyamas, by means of Krishna Chandrayana expiatory rites calculated on the basis of the number of days or which the sins is committed. If the sin is committed consciously, the expiation shall be twice as much.